Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Creatio's webinar. Today is a very special occasion. We'll be discussing our topic, which is implementing best practice service processes for manufacturers. I'll be joined by, or implementing best practice service processes for manufacturers, excuse me. I'll be joined by my colleague Nandish as we walk through this presentation today. My name is Creatio, and I will be your host this afternoon. We've established an agenda for the discussion today. First, we'll be introducing the speaker, Nandish, and our company, Creatio. We'll give you a brief overview of the company and some of our accomplishments that we've achieved over the recent years. Next, we'll discuss the manufacturing industry, some trends and challenges. Then we'll talk about why low-code matters. We'll talk about the low-code platform for manufacturers, and we'll provide a hands-on demo of Creatio's platform, followed by a Q&A discussion today. We invite you to post all of your questions in the chat section of your screen because we hope to make this an interactive discussion today. We'll have a few polls and we'll try to get to every question that we're asked in the chat section at the end of our discussion today. We look forward to receiving those questions. Following the webinar today, you'll also receive, those registered participants will receive a recording of the webinar, and we look forward to answering any unanswered questions offline. So I'm going to hand it over to Nandish very quickly to give himself a brief introduction. Nandish, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much, Corey, and good morning, everyone. My name is Nandish Madapati. I'm the Enterprise Solution Manager here at Creatio. Even though I have 20 years of experience, 13 of that was specifically in the manufacturing, particularly the automotive sector. I started my career back in Michigan, where I was visiting all of the automotive companies such as General Motors, Ford, and all of the automotive suppliers as well. And then I moved to Boston area where I worked with US Army, US Navy, General Dynamics, and many other defense contractors, particularly on the manufacturing side. So I have quite extensive experience with mechanical simulations using CAD, CAE, and then over 6 years ago, I switched over to the CRM. So very excited to be over here sharing my experiences, both from the manufacturing side and from the CRM side. Hopefully, this will be a very fruitful webinar to you guys as well. Back to you, Corey.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nandish. We are recognized in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants. The Magic Quadrant for CRM, for CRM lead management, and the Magic Quadrant for Salesforce automation are 2 Magic Quadrants that we are actually leaders in. Additionally, we are mentioned in 2 Magic Quadrants that speak to our low-code and business process management capabilities. Now, I believe that when I was giving the background overview of Creatio, there was a technical difficulty, so I just want to quickly reiterate our industry and company background. We have 5 global offices with over 650 employees. We have 700 partners worldwide, consistent of consultants and system integrators, and we deliver our solution in 110 countries around the world. Again, we are mentioned in Gartner and Forrester analyst recognition pieces, of which I just mentioned to you previously about Gartner, and look forward to sharing our Forrester recognition as well. We are included in 7 Forrester waves, 2 of which really speak to our low-code and process management capabilities, and 5 of which speak to our CRM and SFA capabilities. We are a strong performer in each of these Forrester waves, and we look forward to growing that analyst recognition moving forward. I'm going to hand it off to Nandish now while he discusses some of the industry trends and challenges of the manufacturing industry.
Thanks again, Corey. So first things first, let me kind of introduce what are some of the trends that we are noticing. And this has been particularly interesting for me because over the last, like I said, I started my career in the manufacturing industry, and I do have a background in mechanical engineering. So way back in 1995, 1996, we're talking about things like machine language was coming into foray, right? We're talking about AI and stuff like that. And it was powerful for me to come to US and then see all of these CNC machines, whether that be lathes or milling machines or grinding machines that was being kind of taken over. And recently I read a report that as and when they are hiring mechanical engineers, it's no longer having that ability to think of it from a designer, from a manufacturing perspective, but they also needed to have deep knowledge about programming, and that is coming very quickly into the US manufacturing side as well. So that is backed up by data. When you look at some of the market leaders and what are the consultants that are putting out these trends out there, you're seeing that Capgemini, for example, is talking about how manufacturers are heavily looking into technology as a means of increasing productivity. And we are hearing these words over and over again. But productivity by itself doesn't mean anything unless it has a significant business impact, right? And that data is backed up by MIT. What they're saying is about 20% of the companies that have embraced digital transformation, whether that be robotics. When we think about, say, Amazon, this distribution center, you're seeing all of these Star Wars-like robots that are walking, basically they are programmed to go to a specific location in this huge warehouse, pull up the whatever things that they need to be shipped out, and they are all doing those things. So digital transformation is happening, and companies that are investing in that are seeing a significant profit on their in their balance sheet. Before I came to Creatio, I also worked in another service automation company that's in the Magic Quadrant, Gartner Magic Quadrant, and they were focused heavily on the IoT devices. So about 2 months ago, I was working with a prospect who is building these ATM machines in Canada, and they obviously sell these ATM machines to various banks. And what they want to do was to simulate these IoT devices, ATM being IoT, send a signal to a service platform such as Creatio that would automatically, upon receipt of an email, create a case management and then assign resources so they can send a field technician over and that get that ATM fixed ASAP. Because if they don't do that, then that impacts the customers. And when customers can't withdraw the cash or deposit checks or whatever they want to do with ATMs, that has a direct correlation to their customer satisfaction, which means that that has an impact on the businesses. So that is coming from the trend side. Now, what does it actually mean? So this statement from Forbes, I think, encapsulates everything that we want to talk about from a Creatio perspective, right? Ultimately, it's about customer service. Technology is great, but if that technology does not improve customer satisfaction, it's just a waste. It's almost throwing money down the toilet, right? It's pointless. But at the same time, manufacturing by itself is getting more and more complex. We're talking about multi-materials. So when you talk about look at an Apple laptop, for example, it's built from a completely recycled aluminum, but it is a single casting. And that is a very difficult manufacturing process to make that very complex structure in a single aluminum casting. You can only do that if you have a very strong technology-driven machines to help you do so. At the same time, when we think about customers, these customers of late, millennials especially, have grown up with smartphones. They've only grown up with Blackberries and iPhones and so on and so forth. They're only used to touchscreens, instant gratification. But not only from a customer's perspective, but also from the employee's perspective, because they're also now becoming employees, right? People born in 92 plus onwards, 1992 onwards, they're expecting whatever they get from the likes of YouTubes and Twitters, that instant gratification, or Amazon, they expect the same thing within the company themselves. So that expectations within the company is also changing. And Kronos, which is a big player in the HCM side, is backing it up with strong data. Almost half the employees which their workplace technology did very much like what they're expecting from the personal technology. Now, all of that is great. So we know there is a trend. The leadership is looking for it. There is expectations from the customers, from the employees. Now, what is the issue there? The issue is obviously the complexity. It is not that easy. It's not like you turn on the machine and you plug and play. It's not like that. There is a process for that. There is a significant capital cost and things like that. But a lot of things can be enabled through the cloud technology. I believe that, because that takes away a lot of that initial capital cost away, which makes the CIOs extremely happy. They're able to show ROI much quicker. A longer term cloud technology can get expensive depending upon how things go by. So there needs to be continuous improvement and productivity. But basically, all of those three trends about the need, the expectations, and the complexity overall is a reason why there is a significant increase in technology for the manufacturing companies, and in particular, because of the fastness of everything, low code is going to become extremely important going forward. So before we get there, I believe we have a very quick poll to see what does the audience think about the challenges.
Yes, thank you so much, Nandish. So we have our first poll, which is which of the above mentioned market challenges have you experienced? And I think, Nandish, maybe while we give our audience just a moment here to respond to the poll, we can take a question from the audience. What do you think?
Absolutely, sounds like a good idea.
Great. So our first question is, how can low-code platforms help automate service processes, specifically for B2B and B2B2C customers?
That is actually a great question. As a matter of fact, that is one of the areas we're going to be demoing today, is the area of product recalls, because that is one of the biggest issues in manufacturing companies. Like you routinely get mails from, say, likes of Toyotas or GM or Ford about something not working, maybe a wiper not working, airbag recalls. That is a due process there. It all starts with customers reaching out to the companies and saying, hey, I have an issue. Over a period of time, they need to accumulate those number of cases and say, you know what, there is an issue in here. There is a problem in here. And once you identify a problem, you need to come up with a change and releases. Everything is a business process in the background. And low code with Creatio, with the help of low code and strong workflow engine, can help answer those very efficiently.
Excellent. Thank you, Nandish. Let's take a quick look at our results here.
I'm kind of curious to see.
All of the above.
Wow.
Well, we agree. We agree that all of these challenges are very, very important. We're obviously very interested to understand what many of the attendees today have experienced. But while we have time today, Nandish will continue walking through how we can be combative with some of these challenges that many of these organizations are experiencing right now.
Absolutely. This is spot on and exactly what I was thinking about. So that is great. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Thank you. So we're looking at low code as a solution, right? So Creatio, as you know, has been focused on low code as a solution for quite some time, but we need to back it up. Low code sounds like a great buzzword, like the likes of blockchains and AI, but are people really using it? That is important. So for that, we have to look no further than Forrester and Gartner's. Those are the ones, market research firms that has been continuously looking at this. And of course, there is a low code wave and a low code magic quadrant for them as well. So what really caught my eye is that in just 4 years, we are expecting that 2/3 of the application development will be in low code platforms. Maybe 3 years ago, I would have kind of questioned it. But what I've seen in the last year and a half, especially joining Creatio, and the speed in which our citizen developers are building those applications, I'm no longer questioning that. And it is a very powerful statement, I think. Moving on. Okay, hold on.
I believe we just have a slight slide delay, Nandish.
Okay. Can you move my slides, correct?
I'm actually not able to at the moment, but I believe that in just a moment, we're going to regain control here. Perfect.
There you go. Perfect. Awesome. So here's a little bit more from a financial perspective, $2.4 trillion. That is what the industries around the world are going to allocate for digital transformation. That is a fundamental piece of information, especially when it comes to low code. So if 2/3 of the applications are done through low code, imagine that 2/3 of the $2.4 trillion market is kind of opening up. And that explains why there is over 200 plus vendors that are becoming a player in low code development, right? And just 2 days ago, I believe it was Amazon that came up with a low code platform for developing applications in their AWS solutions. So, when the likes of Amazon and Microsoft are thinking about low code, it's no longer just a niche area. That is now a really credible technology. And I think Creatio is in a prime place for taking advantage of that. Here's a little bit more information about that. There was a story about how New York City built a crisis management within 72 hours. I think especially with the way the COVID-19 has kind of played out, and seeing the way that people had to transform their lives, businesses had to transform to employees working remotely, still being able to be more efficient. I think this is going to stay much longer. And also keep in mind that from a citizen developer perspective, although the citizen developers understand the business very well, giving them the ability to do those low code development and them being cheaper, and the way the economy the way it is, and everybody's looking to cut cost, I think the confluence of events is boarding extremely well the low code market. So much as this is a time to introspect and becoming nimble enough, I think we need to take advantage of that and make sure that as each one of us is primed to take be the first to dip in the toes, dip our toes into the low code market and be able to be successful in the next couple of decades as this low code kind of takes off. Now, does that mean that everything will get replaced by low-code technology? The answer is absolutely not. We're talking about 60% of that. And there are specific reasons for it, right? The low-code is specifically used in areas where there's a very niche or a very well-defined use case. So for example, from a customer case management, if you are talking about how you want to support your distributors, right? And when the distributors call in, maybe it needs to be routed to the right customer service agent. Maybe their questions are much harder than what the customers would ask for. Then it needs to be automatically sent to the tier 2 level of support rather than tier 1 level, because you're just going to waste time. Ditto on the opportunity management. Maybe that opportunity management should be managed by the partner sales team rather than the direct sales team. So all of those workflows that you're doing can be easily built using low-code platform, right? So we are talking about a very niche area, and the total cost of ownership should also be minimal. In other words, as and when the business process change, you should be able to go in and rapidly modify those business processes, and that is where the low-code platforms work very well. On the other hand, if the market is niche, but the total cost of ownership should be much higher, mainly because of some security requirements. You don't want it to go outside of the firewall. In that case, custom development will matter. And of course, if the total cost of ownership is lower, but you're going after a very broader, like a CRM, for example, you would never do CRM using low code, no code. You'll be pulling up like C# with .NET frameworks, like the way Creatio is built in. So we just have to make sure that we're not using low code for everything, but there's a very well-defined set. But the good thing is it can be used in a lot of those small areas and make sure that everybody is becoming more efficient as digital transformation takes place. Now, from a manufacturing side, these are probably the top 3 use cases that I can think of when it comes to low-code technology. The first one being the supply chain. Everybody talks about supply chain. That is important. So for people who in this webinar who attended another webinar, maybe I don't know, about 6 weeks ago, we did one with Reply. Reply is one of our partners. And we talked about warehouse management from the supply chain management perspective. And Reply actually has built a warehouse management solutions entirely on Creatio that I think can be sold as a modular solution. So any partners, any companies that is looking for a strong WMS solutions, they can definitely partner with Reply and sell that solution as a reseller, perhaps. We are not going to talk about that for today's demo. The second is the connected factories. I think of it more like an IoT. I gave an example of an ATM manufacturer that needs to make sure that there is a predictive failure, and that when that predictive failure is happening, you're kind of anticipating and making sure that the case is assigned as quickly as possible, so you send the best technician to go and fix them. Also, document management through knowledge management comes in handy there. When you have strong management, maybe a simple reset would work. So rather than send an expensive technician, you could enable through strong knowledge base to make sure that the companies can fix it as soon as possible. And more importantly, thirdly, is where we're going to focus bulk of our demo today, which is mainly on the CRM side of it. That would be the efficiency and productivity. So we're talking about managing or helping our distributors sell the products, identifying leads, giving them the necessary funds to do their own marketing. From the leads, you generate opportunities, manage opportunities through forecasting, sales pipelines, and then also case management. Those are the top 3 use cases for today. Back to you, Corey.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nandish. I'm glad we fixed that little slide error that we were having there. But just to reiterate our vision here today, when we talk specifically about our low-code capabilities, it's important to emphasize that Creatio's vision is that we believe that we have created a world where everyone can automate business ideas within minutes, and users with little to no coding skills and experience can automate processes and simplify their daily tasks without previous experience on a coding platform. So we accomplished this mission through our Creatio superpowers, excuse me for the delay there, our Creatio superpowers and our core differentiators. And those are really our BPM engine to change processes faster, our low-code platform, which make everyone a developer, and our unified CRM that aligns sales, service, and marketing products on our system.
All right, I can speak.
Here, just to speak specifically about how we support our manufacturing and distribution customers.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. So you've probably seen this something similar for the banking side. This is exactly the same thing for the manufacturing. We're talking about lead to cash. Lead to cash is then further broken up into lead to opportunity, opportunity to order, and order to cash. And from a CRM perspective, we can pretty much help you give everything. For example, from a customer 360, you all know that Creatio has a full-blown customer 360 because we have marketing, sales, and service all in the same platform, looking at the exact same customer exactly the same way. That helps you in segmenting the customer depending upon their needs. Upsell, cross opportunities, much easier to do that. And then we also have a pretty strong product catalog to back you up from a manufacturing side, which products is best suited in terms of selling it to an existing customer. Then from a lead opportunity and order side, we can take a look at lead management, lead nurturing, opportunity management, forecasting, and product catalog as well. And from a customer side, we can also do customer service from omni-channel, customer satisfaction, dispatching, and so on and so forth. So for today's demo, we're going to focus on lead management, opportunity management, forecasting, and case management with product recalls. And then you can also extend that internally to employee satisfaction as well in terms of onboarding, employee transfer, incident management, and so on and so forth. That will not be covered in today's demo, but basically we're going to take a look at it from a sales experience and from a service experience. All right, so with that, let's switch over to a hands-on demo. Let me go ahead and share my screen. What screen do you see, Corey?
I see your Creatio main page with the portal, and now I see your account page.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. All right, so with that, let's switch over to the hands-on demo. So I suspect everybody has seen or at least are familiar with the Creatio user interface. So I've created a couple of workspaces that is more conducive to the partners, or in this case, or in case of manufacturing, it's more distributors and suppliers, but I mean the same way. I'm just using a different term in here. So there are multiple workspaces in here: contact center for the contacts, customer service, marketing for the marketing side. And here I've done the partner team, where the partner team is able to manage the accounts and contacts that the distributors are handling. Case management, leads, opportunities, dashboard as well. And from product recalls perspective, so anytime there's an issue with products, then multiple cases comes through that is very similar in nature. Then we can create a problem out of that, and from a problem we can do some changes to the products, and then establish some release schedules. You can get very creative with that. And then notify the customers using the email template. So that is basically the full scope of what the demo is going to be. So this is basically the internal user. So what does this experience looks like if you're managing, or if your primary sales is with distributors, right? So distributors is doing a lot of things for you. So in this case, you can assign portal licenses to your distributors so that they can use the same CRM that you use internally, which makes things so much easier from a lead management perspective, from an opportunity perspective, and from a case management perspective. They're not getting access to everything. As you can see, as a distributors, I only get access to partner portal. I can see the main page. I can see what kind of programs am I running. I can do some basic marketing activities. A lot of our partners do webinars, on-site events, lunch and learns. You can do that, generate leads, opportunities, case, and so forth. From main page, they can create customer support, browse the articles, which I suspect you already have seen that from the partner side. But there's also lead analytics. So you can also do some quick dashboards of how many sources, how many leads they have created, how was those leads from the distributors being created, what was the need type, maturity, and all of that. So basically the same dashboards that is available to companies is also available to the distributors of those companies. And here is dashboards on lead pipeline, and these are all active. What that means is these are all real time, right? So as and when things are getting added, these dashboards are being written or overwritten in the right way, or happening in real time, that is. Now here is the portal side that gives you, from a partner relationship, what is going on. You can start measuring what kind of levels. Distributors have different levels, how many certifications they have, if there's any membership fees, what kind of training funds you're assigning to them, what kind of activities they're generating, if there's any certifications that is needed. This could be depending upon if they are getting trainings, if the distributors are doing the trainings. Examples include, car companies that allow the dealership to be certified in fixing cars, or hybrid fuel cell technologies, things like that. And then, of course, there is sales funnels, which is basically the same, similar things that you've seen from the main page. Now, here's the partner program. This is how you manage your partners. This is basically as I'm logged in as a ClearSoft partner in here, I only have visibility to my own and nobody else, right? So when does that partner started? What's the due date? When the partnership is going to end? Is this a current or active or inactive partnership? And then you can manage every other kinds of funds that has been exchanged, operations that has been done, and any opportunities and leads in terms of leads and opportunities that has been created or been assigned to the distributors. Typically, they have to do that by themselves. And of course, through partners, you can also do basically the same feed so that you can start communicating between the partner team, the distributor teams, and the actual distributors. These are marketing activities. So marketing activities are basically any on-site events or webinars that the partners do, and what kind of budgets they establish for your marketing activities so that you can start measuring that. And finally, we get into the actual lead management and opportunity management and case management. So for people who are already an active Creatio users, you can see that the user interface is exactly the same, except that we don't give them a lot of control, right? So let's go ahead and create a new lead. For the distributors. Maybe the distributors met somebody when they were talking, or they were at an event. Maybe they're interested in creating a new product. So I can say, they met somebody with an account name called, I don't know, ABC Corporation. And they have a budget of say 15,000 to achieve this, and you can see that the owner is automatically assigned to the partner in here, and they also get access to the products, so they can go ahead to the product catalog and pick whatever products that they want to do in terms of for leads, and then click close. So what we have done is we have just created a new lead for the customers. And let me go ahead and sort this by created on, so that it shows up in the top. So this is a new lead that has been created for ABC Corporation. Now, what is happening in the background? In the background, what we have done is, from a accounts perspective, ABC doesn't show up in here. Very quickly, this will create a new account called ABC. And if I go into the partner team and look at the leads, that lead should automatically show up as a ABC Corporation in here. So from a internal perspective, on a real-time basis, I know that my distributor, William Clark's, has created a partner channel lead for me and is currently in the qualification stage. So all of that information, of $15,000, is automatically captured over here as well. So then from a low code perspective, we can start assigning the same workflows that we want to do, that we allow our sales rep to do internally as well. So so whether that being assigning distribution to the leads or going to hand off to sales as well. So these are exactly the similar workflows that you can have to your distributors to make sure that they're doing the bare minimum in terms of qualifying the leads, and they're not putting unqualified leads as an opportunity for you to buff up their own numbers, right? So basically, I'm now saying that the distributors has identified the need for $15,000. Maybe they met today, and they expect to make a decision, say by end of July, so about a 1-month sales cycle, and click save. So now the distributor has now done the bare minimum of reaching out to the customer in terms of qualifying that lead. And from qualifying the lead, they have said that they expect that lead to close by end of the next month. And we have now created a new opportunity, ABC Corporation. And now as a distributors, I can now start qualifying that lead and taking it to the next stage. Now you can see that automatically the same process that was done for direct sale is now done for the distributor sales as well, right? So now the category, you can see that a lot of information that typically is allowed from to the direct sales is now taken away. So maybe the category is enterprise, the source is maybe a cold call or something like that. And now all I have to do is, from a distributor side, I don't have to worry about what I need to do. I just need to follow through steps of saying, okay, I'm going to verify the needs, I'm going to conduct a presentation, I'm going to collect technical requirements, and basically follow through step by step of what I need to do. So you're now helping your distributors to say that, hey, if you need to work with us, I need you to make sure that you follow these basic guidelines of taking it from a lead, converting that into an opportunity, and from an opportunity, take it to the finish line as well. So this makes everybody a disciplined workforce, because very likely your distributors are not only distributors for yourself, but they're also distributors for many other companies. So they need to be making sure that they're not confusing one CRM with the other. So this is a great way from low code, no code technology to make sure that we are all helping our distributors to get more and more efficient, and giving them a very guided way of taking them an opportunity from qualification all the way to closed one. All right, so now that we have done the opportunity side, let's take a look at what else can we do. So from a management perspective, we can now start tracking using the Kanban view of what is going on from a lead, and also what is going on from an opportunity. So from an opportunity side, if I use a Kanban view, here is all of the opportunity that my direct sales is running. But then I can flip this over and say, show me all of the opportunities that my indirect sales is running. So now you can see that ABC Corporation that I just did a couple of minutes ago, that was just closed by William Clark's, is already in here. So you can see that this is happening on a real-time basis. So I can very easily do this, or if I want to move this over to the next stage, I can simply drag and drop that and say that, you know what, they have done enough things for me to validate this from a qualification perspective and move this to the needs analysis. So you can kind of manage this almost like a whiteboard and work with your distributors to make sure that the opportunities are progressing in the right direction and they're doing the bare minimum. In addition to that, you can also do dashboard dashboards and measure what is going on, whether it be opportunity analytics or pipeline comparisons or between the sales and indirect sales or indirect sales. You can measure their efficiency gains as well. But also you can create your own dashboards. So for example, in here I've created dashboards where I'm tracking leads and opportunities side by side, and also the same information, but this time from the stack perspective, right? So for a given month, we have had 6 months this fiscal year or this calendar year. I want to know how many leads have been created, no opportunities. There was 8 leads created, resulting in 1 opportunity, 10 and 12, so on and so forth. So I can start measuring that. But also, I can now take this from an opportunity pipeline year to date and start measuring what is going on. So this is a pivot table that you can create in Creatio's latest 7.16.1 and take a look at, okay, how many sale has been done by my direct, how many has been done by partners, and from the partners, then you can say which of these partners and what are the accounts that they have done by. So you can do a very quick check of what is the probability amount and what is the probability percentage for all of those things. So this is a great way of measuring the effectiveness of distributorship. So this is on the sales experience side. Let's quickly switch over to the service side. So from a service side, we're going to take a look at a product recall. So the use case here is that a particular case keeps coming over and over again. So you start seeing a trend, and from a trend, you're going to create a problem, and then initiate the problem to the product team. From the product team, then they come up with some changes. They make the changes, and then they do a due diligence, and then they release their product as a recall product to the final to the customers. So let's go ahead and create a new case for the customer. So let's go ahead and say maybe from a maybe this is an incident. Maybe the CPU fan has stopped working. And machine is heating up, right? So this is a electronics manufacturing company, but doesn't have to be that. So basically, now we have just created from our distributors, we have noticed that these things are happening, and now we have created a new case called SR89. So immediately this case gets created in the main page as well. So you can see that 89, there's a new incident created. If I click open that, even though I only input what that CPU fan has stopped working, internally we have pulled all of that information about who that is, what was the account, and was there any internal SLA assigned to that, and now I can start working on the case management as well, right? So maybe I'll assign this case to myself, and then I can start to say that from a case information, I want to see if there's any subordinate cases or cases that pertain to that. So let me go and switch over to the subject line and say CPU. Is there any issues with CPU? And I see that, wait a minute, 7 days ago, there was a CPU that was overheating as well. So now I can see a trend of some of the cases. So it's not only the first time that this has happened. Maybe there is an issue with this case management, right? And also now you can see that what I can now do is I can create a closure. From a closure perspective, now I can create a new problem. I can say that, hey, I need to create a new problem about overheating CPU, maybe CPU fan not working. And now you can see that I've just created a new case over there, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. Now, what is happening in the background is that if I reopen this problem, you can see that this problem of CPU not working is now tied to that incident 89. So now we have created a hierarchy of saying that a case came through. From a case, we noticed that there was another case that was overheating as well. So now we are raising a problem to our product team. So the product team now will know that whenever they open this problem, there's actually 2 cases that is backing that issue up. So now they will be able to take this case, and now through using low-code technologies, we can start scheduling a workflow to start notifying that product team, right? So maybe this is notifying, maybe setting up a call with the product team and notifying them about, hey, we are seeing a trend from the customer service team. Then the product team can go ahead and assemble a team of engineers to start figuring out what the issue is, maybe identify the root cause analysis of what is causing that issue. And then once that issue has been done, either come back and say for this customer support team that, hey, here is the workaround that we have come up with, and so on and so forth. So now you can see that the case is in here. Maybe the resolution is to come up with a case management. And now we say that, well, you came up with a workaround. Is this something that requires you to make a change to the product itself? Maybe some configuration changes, maybe in terms of manufacturing, it could be a material change, maybe new alloys, maybe a new way of manufacturing them, maybe this lead solders are not being done properly, whatever that change is. Now you're saying that, hey, we identified a problem, we have identified a workaround, now you want to implement that change or figure out what that change is. And if the answer is yes, what we'll do is now we will create a new, basically a new change. And now if I go into the changes, you will now see that a new change has been created automatically, through the low code, and everything is automatic. I've never done anything. All I'm doing is finishing up the task, and each of these cases resulting in new problems, resulting in new changes is automatically done. So now you can see that there was a new change that was done that is pointing to the problem of CPU fan. So now we are creating a chain of cases, problems, and changes. And within the change itself, now again, we'll start assembling a team of the people that needs to manage that. We want to identify if this change is urgent or normal. So maybe the category is normal or urgent, whatever that may be. Maybe this is a normal change. So now we are basically guiding the team using low-code technology again on how to go and manage these changes. So maybe when should this change be completed, right? So we can now say that maybe from execution perspective, we want this change to be completed maybe no later than July 30th, right? And then we complete that. And then we go into the testing to make sure that everything works okay. And once the testing is completed, we will then say, okay, now that we have identified a problem, we have found out a workaround, and we're going to make some changes to our product. And then from the changes, now to how do we want to release this new product? How are we going to do that managing of those releases, and how do we notify our customers? So now low code is now prompting you to say, do you want to schedule a release for that recall product? And the answer is yes. We're going to go ahead and create a new release record automatically. You'll now see that this release is tied to this change R6 that was done a couple of minutes ago. And then again, this is another workflow. So you can see that at every point of time, we are through task management using the low-code technologies. We are kind of guiding people step by step of what to do. How are we going to plan this? What kind of development is happening? Are we doing some testing? And then finally release and deploy the releases to the end users or to the distributors or whoever is using this particular application, right? So again, basically, I'm going to walk through the remainder of the workflow. Then we go into the release, and now we are going to notify the marketing team that, all right, there was a problem. We have identified what the change is. We have come up with a release mechanism of how to notify this to the end customers. And now it's time to notify the marketing team. And then we can go ahead and complete that task. And then schedule a deployment plan. So basically, we are going to finish up all of that. And now we have now we're going to notify the sales team that they need to notify the customers that a new product recall isn't there. So for that, how do we handle the notifications. So for that, you can take advantage of the email templates, notify your customers. So here's a very simple email template that I've created with connected to the contact individual. So here is how it was done. A basic, if you click on edit, you'll see that it's nothing fancy. Everything is drag and drop. Everything's a block, and I've created a button that is pointing to our website in this case. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to have the sales team reach out to individual users, maybe to Alexander Wilson. So maybe I'm a sales rep. I will go in here and I will pick up the template, and I'll pick up all that recall. And basically you can now see that the name automatically got filled up. And if I click on this, it was going to take me to the Creatio link, so that there is a very simple link that is pointing to that. So this is a very simplified version of how you can take, you can start noticing trends in the cases as through the subordinate cases. And once you see a trend, you raise a problem to the product team. The product team will then come up with some changes to the product to address that problem. And once that change has been validated, we then come up with a release schedule. And then once the release has been done, we then notify our customers through email templates, everything handled through Creatio platform. So before I get into, we have about 10 minutes left. Before I get into that, I'm just going to give you a very quick overview or a section cases of how I created this DCM. But once I've done that for problems, it's the same thing that can be done for changes as well. So this is how simple it is. I just created these different stages. So the DCM has been created for different status of that, of problems, and within problems, I've created different tasks. And for the last one where the change management had to be done, all I did was to point it to a business process using our studio product, where all I do is I ask for a dialogue to say that, hey, do you want to create a change management? If the answer is yes, it will continue in here. If the answer is no, it will simply end the process. Then I read what the problem is, read the case that is attached to that problem, create a new change, and then simply attach that problem to that change so that they're all kind of interconnected. But you can see that the business process by themselves are very simple. There is nothing really complex about it. And this is basically the power of low-code technologies, right? So the whole issue of creating all of these workflows took me about roughly a day or so to build it. So that is not very complex. The same thing that from the Kanban perspective, you can do the same thing, not only for the opportunities, you can do that for the changes, you can do that for the releases, all of those things as well. Before I get into the questions, I just want to show you what I did from the opportunity perspective. So here is how the section cases was done. So we had section cases for the opportunities. We had two different kinds of workflows. One for direct opportunities where the direct sales team is doing, and this is the indirect sales team. And in the indirect sales team, I had some basic workflows. But what I'm trying to highlight here is that whether you're working on an opportunity record or on the problem or on the case or on the release, the user experience of building those workflows is simple. It is low-code technologies. Anybody can do that. It is not that complex at all. And you're only limited by the imagination that you have, and you can do this very easily for custom objects as well. So with that, basically what we have done is we kind of walked through the sales opportunities. I showed you how the experience looks like from a portal side. How do we create a cases from the portal? How do you manage your distributors? How do you manage your distributors program? How do you manage them? And then once the product comes over, from a case management side, how do you manage recalls and make sure that everybody within the company, whether that be the product team or customer support team or the sales team, is following through with strong business process engine, all supported from the low-code technologies in Creatio. All right, so with that, I'm going to end my demo and take any questions.
Excellent, thank you so much, Manish. That was a great demo. So our next question that we have from the audience is, how can you manage distributors if they are located in different countries?
Yeah, so nothing is going to change from a user experience. It's all based on portal licenses anyways. So you can geographically, just like the partner distributor partner portal that I showed you, it's going to be the same thing. The only thing that might be different would be the language that the CRM or Creatio is going to display. So we do support multiple languages. So whether you're speaking Arabic or Hebrew or German or French or English, doesn't matter. The partner portal can support multiple languages. That would be the only change when you're managing different distributors in different countries. But the user experience is going to be exactly similar, like the way I showed. That was a great question.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nandish. Our next question is, what can help agents resolve incidents and cases from customers and distributors faster?
Again, so how fast can you do that, right? So it has to, like I said, when at the beginning, when I talked about the technology part of it, if you're talking to, if you're getting a case from our distributors, you need to have a separate workflow. I would not expect it to go to the first level, then the second level, and third level. Typically, my experience working with manufacturing companies has been distributors know a lot. So when they have an issue with the customer service, it typically requires somebody from the product team right away. So in that case, I would direct it directly to the second level as opposed to the first level. All of that can be managed through case workflows through business process engine in Creatio. So all you do is see who the user is. If you recall in the demo, when I created a case in the partner portal, all I did was to put a statement. That was it, one statement. But internally, Creatio saw who that partner was and then auto-populated that, put an SLA, and we can do the same thing in terms of case assignment. We can directly send it to the second level. So we can improve efficiency that way.
Excellent. Our next question is, how can you manage order processing and products and services? Can a low-code platform help with product recalls and product delays? How does it work?
Yeah, and I think I addressed that in the demo side as well, right? So from a demo, I talked about getting a case. In order to do a product recall, you need to have a history of similar problems or similar trends before you can create a problem. But you should not be creating a problem the first time you get that case, right? There should be at least 4 or 5, depending upon different companies, different industries, obviously, before you can say that, okay, we have a problem with our design. Now it's time for us to go and make some changes to that. And then how do we release those changes subsequently? So the demo, I think, pretty much answered that question, although I did it in a much simpler way. Because we didn't have too much time. You can get as deeper as you want, assign different people, different teams, committees if need be. Maybe from auditing perspective, you can measure that. You need to create reports. All of those can be done in Creatio very easily. Keep in mind that we have unlimited reports and unlimited dashboards. And Kanban view, like I showed you previously, you can start measuring that from a very whiteboard perspective where things are and make changes to them as needed.
Great, thank you, Nandish. Another question is, do you provide pre-built solutions that can speed up integration and implementation?
Can you repeat that, Corey? I missed the first part.
Yes. Do you provide pre-built solutions that can speed up integration and implementation?
Absolutely. So this can be in multiple ways, right? So like I talked about our partner Reply, who built a warehouse management system built entirely on Creatio's low-code platform. So keep in mind that Creatio is not just a CRM, it's actually a platform, a low-code platform that you can build new products on, or new objects, or new solutions. So they did that. So we will not only give you pre-built solutions that way, whether from a document management, whether that from a release management, whether that from a dashboardings or opportunities or lead management, those are all table stakes. Those are available. There's also a lot of manufacturing applications on our marketplace that you can download, many of them for free. Some of them are paid, obviously. And from an integrations perspective, typically in a manufacturing company, so you're integrating with a order management systems or in ERP systems like JD Edwards or EBS or SAP. You can definitely integrate that. We have done that very successfully. We also have some middleware in our marketplace applications, marketplace that Meritus or technology advisors have done that. So you can definitely use middleware to connect our Creatio with whatever ERP systems that you have. Also, we also have REST APIs. So if you want to connect using our web services, pull data into ERP, synthesize data, and then push data back to ERP systems, you can definitely do that. And those are unlimited. We don't charge by number of API calls either.
Excellent. Our next question is it easy to learn how a low-code platform works for service process automation?
Absolutely. I showed you towards the end of the demo, I showed you a very simple business process that actually asked a question to the user that do they want to create a change out of a problem, and then created a change and then connect those objects together. And as you can see, it was simple blocks, and each of those blocks were connected with basic English. And there is no, all you need to have is basic programming skills. What I mean by programming skills is logic skills more so than programming skills, but at no point of time you have to learn C# or Apex programming languages or custom programming languages. You don't have to know that. It's simple drag and drop. And like I mentioned earlier, these things are built using low-code technologies in Creatio. All of the sales reps are expected to build something very simple during their interview process. And like I say, if sales reps can do it, anybody can, right? If you have some basic logical experience, which everybody has these days, you'll be able to build applications very rapidly. And to support all of that, we do have community. So a lot of citizen developers are available on our marketplace community site. You pose a question, if you get stuck, very likely you'll get an answer within no time from one of our citizen developers, and you can move forward. So you're not isolated. You do have full support from Creatio and our extended ecosystem.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nandish. Thank you for leading an excellent discussion and demo today. It was really great to have you on and leading this discussion. And thank you to our audience for participating in the event, for answering the poll questions, and for submitting their questions online. Want to thank everyone for joining us, and we look forward to having you on future Creatio webinars.
Thanks, everyone. It was my pleasure. Thank you.